that we're doing is the capability of building a secure, reliable network to be able to bring the data back to a dashboard, to be able to know where our personnel is at. One of the statistics that I showed was that 80% of all incidents that occur on the ground are because of communication errors. So if we can make sure that our communication is strong, reliable, and resilient, now we can have reliability off of that, and from that then we can start to track where our personnel are. So one of the things that I've done is at Cisco is partnered with another company to be able to do personnel tracking. We partnered with a company called GeoMobi. They published a white paper about 6 months ago. And what they do is they use Bluetooth for tracking, plus they also use RFID for tracking. They also use Wi-Fi for tracking, for triangulation. They use wearables like the one I have on my arm. They use different watches. And they have the capability then to know where somebody's at. And from that, on top of that, you could have a panic button on your wearable to push to try to get help. You could have man down. By monitoring a person's orientation to their wearable, if they fall down flat and they don't move, then I can set up an alarm saying maybe there's a toxic gas in that area. And on top of that, I could have gas sensors in that area to make sure that I don't send other personnel into that area where it might be dangerous for them trying to rescue one of their colleagues. So we like to get that all together, but the path forward is to make sure we start off with a highly reliable, a highly secure, and a highly resilient network to bring the data back across. Once again, if 80% of the communication errors occur causing an incident, we need to get rid of that 80% and then start building on top of that on a strong platform. When we build on a weak platform, we build a weak system, and it falls down like a house of cards. So that's one of the things that we do. The other that we talked about was the ability to come into a integrated remote operations center. And so we've done that in multiple countries around the world. We've worked with other companies. We've worked with companies that like to put their IROC into different locations so they have geographic diversity. We've worked with companies that do IROCs on site. We've worked with companies that put IROCs in airport locations so that they have the capability, in case of a catastrophic event, to be able to continue doing sustainable mining. One of the things here in Peru is that we've worked with some companies to be able to put in IROCs, and they're able to monitor, and they've been such a huge success over the last several years. They've expanded their footprint there, and they're actually moving into more coverage. We're talking in terms to a large mining company here in Peru that is going to not only expand that, but they're also going to look at how can they do multi-access to their mine to be able to know that one wireless connectivity is not enough. However, I need to have all the wireless. It needs to be secure, reliable, and resilient. And I can bring it back to the IROC. And then maybe I have Wi-Fi, I have Cisco Ultra Reliable Wireless Backhaul, plus LTE, maybe add in 5G, maybe add some LoRaWAN for sensors, but then bring it all back securely, reliable to my IROC, so that I can then take that information and make good decisions in a proactive fashion. First, and they worked with us to get LTE and to be able to get their systems up on that. Plus, on top of that, they use the Cisco routing and switching for secure, reliable connectivity. They also are then bringing the information back across the wide area network and bringing it back to their IROC. And they're the company that's been so successful that they're expanding their operation, and we're working with them on how to make sure that as they expand, they're scalable too, making sure that that reliability doesn't fall down as they start to scale. So one of the problems that we see is that projects become very successful and very well. They work extremely good, but they work so good, people keep adding stuff on top, and then they fall down because they're not scalable. So that's one of the things that we're working with them extremely close, is to make sure that not only is it secure, reliable, and resilient, but it's also scalable. How can we take this success that we have in this very small pocket and make it a success for a very large environment? Yes, so in Latin America also there's other examples of miners that we're working with that are doing both greenfield underground plus brownfield. They already have the underground mine, and they're working on how do they augment ventilation on demand. How do they augment knowing where their personnel are at? And how do they create that system to make the connectivity back to it? And then also in Chile, there's a couple ones that are working for remote operation centers and bringing the information back into it. So in LATAM, there's more than just the one in Peru, and there will be more than one in Peru as time progresses on. As the success stories become more and more prevalent, more and more companies will have more confidence to deploy these networks.